What up guys, this is Monkey Figure Reviews, and today we are gonna talk about some upcoming One Piece Portraits of Pirates figures by megahouse. There have been quite a number of updates since my last video, and the first one, of course, this is the Portrait of Pirates Warriors Alliance Maximum Yamato figure. Her height is 31.6 cm, 26.9 cm to the top of the head, and the release date is November 2022 this year. The price is 23,600 yen. Previously, we only seen the grayscale sculpt, but now we have the full color prototype. The promotional images are all out because she's up for pre-order for quite some time. I think probably sold out by now. I myself had pre-ordered her. And today we're just going to take a quick look at some of these images, how the figure looks like fully colored. The first picture here is one of the main promotional images, and from here we can sort of roughly see, I guess, that the base that she's standing on, the rocks, the debris, they are supposed to be some of those that you find near the sea, near the ocean. So this is how she looks like on her own, and I think in terms of the sculpt, I had already mentioned that previously. Nothing specific I want to mention again, maybe except for I'm still quite uncomfortable with how they sculpt her right hand, with the middle finger and the ring finger together. Maybe they are trying to imitate a claw. That's the closest idea I could guess at. And I kind of didn't really like how they make the handcuffs permanent. I did kind of wish that there was an option to remove them as and when you wish, but it looks like they are permanent fixtures on her arms. Face-wise, looks good. I think the pose is pretty decent. It's a good standing pose, doesn't take up a lot of lateral space. The colors look quite absolutely insane with the depth that megahouse likes to give the Portrait of Pirates figures nowadays. You can clearly see because, for example, like the skirts, even though it's supposed to be red in color, they added this kind of like bronze shading at the bottom, similar for the weapon. And the back of the skirt, you can see that as well, and towards the bottom of those ribbons. So they try to give more three-dimensional look, maybe color reflection going on over there. It's quite common now for the P.O.P figures. And the muscles look great on her. I think it suits her a lot because she's supposed to be very strong, kind of like a muscular character. Of course, here we have the fan service. And like the back here, the color of the hair, I think they're okay. But I do find that some other figures, maybe from Presto or Figure Arts, they seem to do the color a lot better. The transition of the colors better, even from the Ichiban Kujis. Here is not that distinct. And I think towards the end of the hair, the material becomes a bit translucent as well. So it's not fully opaque. Texturing and the color on her weapon looks great as well. The base looking quite realistic with the coloring. And as well as the texture. Side view, a better look on her chest as well. And I think the whole figure is kind of very glossy with the way it's painted. Kind of like a shiny, chromish look. Similar to, I think, like Crocodile, Odin. And here you can actually see that her skin is a bit revealed over here. This is, I believe, the correct design because a lot of the figures have been mixing them up. Sometimes it's not skin color, sometimes it is. So I think this is the right way. Another angle from the back, and here you can really just see the spectrum of colors on the end of the knots here. It almost looks kind of, overdone, a bit artificial. Maybe they shouldn't have gone too crazy here. And a bit of the skirt flying up. Not sure if you can see any details below. As of now, we do not really know. More photos of her, I'll just quickly breeze through. I think by now most of us would have seen a lot of pictures. And these are the close-ups. I do think that in terms of her face, it's a bit angle specific. Like some angles, she looks exactly like Yamato, but maybe like this photo, this angle, her face just kind of looks off a bit. But the painting and everything, I think those are good. The mouth, the details, those are well done. Here as well, I think in this angle, her face is a bit off for me. Could be the positioning of her facial features. Same thing here, I do think that the hair should have been more colorful with how the color transits. Bottom of the base, a photo for you to see some of the texture, the sandals, her feet, the toenails. Close up of a weapon, and it has this really raw, kind of like iron cast look on it. The big knots on her back, all the threads. And this is a picture of someone holding her, and you can get an idea of how big she is. I think she's a pretty big figure all the way to the top, like I mentioned, that is like 31.6 cm. To the head, I think maybe here, or the horns, that is 26.9. And here are some real life photos of her, taken from my figure collection. Somebody kindly uploaded them. You can see them in the website as well. Alright, next to Zoro, some size comparison. And here we have Yamato next to Oden. I think it will make for a pretty decent display, just putting them side by side. Next, they are reissuing the Portrait of Pirates DX limited version Portgas DA's figure. His height is 23 cm. The release date is November 2022 this year as well. And the price is 16,800 yen. I had previously reviewed this figure on my channel, so if you want to know more about him, go ahead to that video. I'll not be spending too much time talking here. One thing I gotta say is that the reissue price is pretty insane. I got him, I think, for maybe 1/3 or half the price, second hand, but now it is just way overpriced. But he is a good figure. I still like him a lot, one of my favorite figures, especially if you put all the three brothers together. Here, this is very exciting for me. It is the Portrait of Pirates Playback Memories Trafalgar Law figure. His height is 17 cm. His width is 15 cm. The release date is December 2022 this year, and the price is 18,000 yen. For myself, I've been waiting to get a pre-time skip Law figure for quite some time, and always sitting on his OG figure, whether or not I want to get it, because the price is quite cheap, but the details are a bit outdated. So maybe I'm in one of the minorities here, but I'm quite happy that they did an updated version of him. And honestly, he looks really good. The details looks fantastic, and Law is just badass sitting down there. It's nice to have a different varied pose, because if I want to put him next to Kid, for example, I think they'll look good next to each other. Another promo image of him sitting in the forest for some reason. And here just the figure itself. Let's start with the face, shall we? I think that character likeness is on point. It is top notch. The details on the eyes, the nose sculpt, the little grin that he has, that is so Law. And I think they have captured it really well. The details on the head looks pretty decent. They got that furry kind of rough texture. And you have those earrings, the sideburns. And of course we have that pre-time skip outfit. The kind of hoodie that he has. Creases are really well done. Also a bit shiny, which I mentioned is kind of like their style nowadays. And the Jolly Roger, the tattoos. His legs are kind of skinny though, especially in those jeans. But the patterns, the creases, the coloring, all are really well done. The gloss on his shoes. And the details as well on the crate that he sits on looks fantastic. It really looks like wood. They try to make it as realistic as possible to how it is in real life, even with some damage, some unevenness with the planks. And of course we have the sword at the back. Another angle with sort of a lower view, so you get a clearer look on his face, his chin and neck. I can see the shading all are done well around the definition. It's a very simple pose, and I did saw some comments about people disliking it, but I just kind of think that this just captures Law so well. I believe they did a figure of him that is very similar in pose. I just cannot remember the series name offhand now, but it's sort of like a bigger figure, and this is the back of him, how it looks like. Again, the creases on the clothing, those are well done. And details on the sword, fairly decent, nothing too amazing. A bit of gloss and shine over here around the handle, and the rest is okay. Yeah, probably whatever you can see is there, nothing much I want to expand on. I just really like his face. I think it's perfect. Probably one of the better Law figures. Tattoos, really well done. Oh, I forgot to mention, I also pre-ordered him, so can't wait to display him on my shelf. Next, we have another entry for the same line, the Portrait of Pirates Playback Memories Akagami no Shanks. His height is 21.5 cm. The release date is April 2023 next year. The price is 20,000 yen. So when I first heard that they were going to do a Shanks Playback Memories line, I was hoping that they could do a Romance Dawn Shanks, with both arms, with him wearing the straw hats. Because I think we had 2 Shanks figures so far. The previous one, in my opinion, I know a lot of people hate it, but in my opinion, I thought that was pretty decent. It's pretty good. So, kind of wish that they had done a Romance Dawn instead. But what they actually went with is Marineford Shanks again, but this time round in a much more dynamic pose. This is obviously him blocking that attack from Akainu. So it is straight out from that panel, it is straight out from that scene. This promo picture, you can clearly see that, what they are going for. But one thing I would like to say is, I do kind of think they didn't do as well in terms of the character likeness here. I would say at most angles, his face looks off. Only in probably 1 or 2 specific angles from the side, then he looks more like Shanks. But other than that, they didn't really capture it 100% in my opinion. Beyond that, I think looking at the details on the figure, the hair looks fantastic. His red hair, the individual strands, once again the coloring along the creases and folds looks very natural. His cape floating towards the back with some of this bronze coloring to add depth again. And his pants, the designs, those look fantastic as well. His feet is a bit weird, I guess, because he's in motion. So I think he's got to be supported in some way or another in order for the figure to not collapse. This angle, he looks better, I think, than over here. Just looks much more like Shanks. Here you can also see the sword sheath, silver in color. And a bit of gloss as well on the rest of the sheath. And his leg muscles, the leg hairs with the lines, those iconic sandals. Top down view of him, the hair really looks fantastic. The motion of the cape is pretty well done too. You can definitely see that from here. And of course his sword, fairly basic in details, nothing crazy about it. Back view, so you get a better look of the coat and some of his butt, some of the clothing. Here you can specifically see that he will be situated on some sort of stand to hold him in. Here we have the close-ups. And yeah, once again, his face is just a bit off. Like the scars, those are well done. I think the eyes are okay. Maybe it is the mouth with, the lips, like, it's almost like he's biting his lower lip kind of look. Just looks a bit weird. Close-up on his top. Here another close-up on his face. I really like the way they have done his hair. I think the details are great. And another look on his body. The sword handle. The hand. Which is pretty neat because you can see some of the finer details like the wrist, some of the creases, and the fingernails. And even on the handle, there's a bit of wear and tear they've added to make it more natural. Now, this is truly big news. It is big news because we are getting the Portrait of Pirates Sailing Again Maximum Charlotte Linlin, or as we know her as, Big Mom. We are getting another Maximum figure of one of the Yonkos. Her height is monstrous. It is 39.5 cm. The release dates we know as of now is it's gonna be in 2023 next year. So this is obviously Whole Cake Island, Big Mom. That's her outfit. This is not the Wano outfit, and she's kind of going crazy over here, using Prometheus and Zeus, and we have Napoleon on her head. And for now, we only have this uncolored grayscale prototype, but it's good enough to get an idea of how the figure is going to be. She is definitely going to be a huge figure, around the same height as Kaido, and I can't wait to see how she looks like fully colored. I think they can play with a lot, especially with Zeus and Prometheus. But based on this picture so far, I have no issues. I think the sculpt is fantastic. Big Mom looks exactly like herself, a bit of a crazy maniac look. And for Zeus, of course, you know, when they are angry, Prometheus, a fire, this is how they look like. I like that we get to see, you know, her using two of her more common attacks, her tools, just using them, which is very often. We saw that in the manga, in the anime, and of course, Big Mom is thick, so we get to see that, her big belly. The base is probably some of this flooring or tiles that we saw on Whole Cake Island. Not sure what these wavy effects are. Could be just a smoke or aura that she's giving off. Side angle of her. She's really thick. Really the details on Prometheus looks amazing with the fire and the flames. Hopefully they add crazy coloring and shading to them. And yeah, if not, I think for now there's really not a lot to talk about. I guess the hair is quite cool as well, but we have a close-up here with the face. Fantastic with the eyes, the nose, the big mouth, and a bit of saliva coming off her tongue. You know, the teeth just look so massive. The hair looks great. Here, of course, we have Napoleon and some of those feathers on top of the heads. Yeah, so in summary, for now, I'm definitely excited for this. I missed out on Kaido. Didn't get him. But now the aftermarket prices are absolutely insane. For that reason, I know it sounds silly, but I might actually now get Big Mom. Because if not, it's gonna be almost impossible to get her. And you know, what's better than putting all the Yonkos side by side with one another? To round off this video, Megahouse is also doing reissues for some of the P.O.Ps, like Warriors Alliance Chopper. His height is 10.5 cm. The release date is January 2023 next year. The price is 7,480 yen. They are reissuing Onami as well. Her height is 22.5 cm. Release date is also in January 2022 next year. And the price is 14,300 yen. The last reissue is the Portrait of Pirates Limited Edition Corazon and Law. The height for Corazon is 16.5 cm and for Law it is 12 cm. The release date is also in January 2023 next year. The price is 22,000 yen, which is really crazy. I think that the original release was probably close to half the price, I think. So it is heavily inflated. Make of it what you will. If you really want them, then go ahead. Alright, that's all I have for this video. Let me know what you guys think of the upcoming P.O.P figures, which one you are getting. For myself, I'm getting Yamato. I pre-ordered her. I pre-ordered Law. And Shanks, Shanks probably not. I'm still quite happy with my previous Shanks. And for Big Mom, I'm definitely setting my sights on her. As usual, if you like my video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share them with your friends. If you like what I'm doing, don't forget to subscribe and also hit the bell notifications button so you don't miss out on new videos like this. Thank you guys so much for spending your time with me. I will see you very soon. Goodbye.